Soo-yeon, thinking she's a total genius, sneaks into the secret room at home all by herself. Using the two-way mirror as her spyglass, she enlists her so-called bestie, Mi-ju, to put her husband to the test. Little does she know, she's on the verge of stepping into a diabolical trap. And, soon enough, her worst nightmare unfolds as she watches Seong-jin and Mi-ju practically devouring each other. Soo-yeon has noticed that lately, Seong-jin has been giving her the cold shoulder. To test his love for her, she records a breakup video. Mi-ju gives her the key to the secret room, helps her pack toiletries and food, and then sends her into the secret room. The mirror in there is a two-way one. You can see the outside from the inside, but people outside can't see in. Soo-yeon is secretly proud of her plan. She waves goodbye to Mi-ju, then starts eating a sausage while waiting for Seong-jin to come home. Not long after, there's the sound of the door opening. Seong-jin comes home and watches the breakup video. He looks totally deflated, with a regretful look on his face, like he's really sad. Seeing this, Soo-yeon can't help but cover her mouth and giggle. She's certain that Seong-jin loves her deeply, but she doesn't know that she's already fallen into Mi-ju's trap. Soo-yeon finds herself imprisoned in the secret room by the treacherous Mi-ju. Eager to surprise Seong-jin, she jams the key into the lock, only to find it won't budge an inch. Instead of suspecting the key is a phony, she naively assumes the lock cylinder has gone kaput. Right then, Seong-jin is washing his face. Soo-yeon knocks hard on the glass window, shouting at him to let her out. But the two-way mirror and the glass are designed to be soundproof. Seong-jin can't hear a thing. Soo-yeon picks up a makeup item and knocks on the iron pipe below. Seong-jin still doesn't react at all. She even broke the bottle and cut her hand. After quickly bandaging it, she takes out her phone to call Seong-jin, only to find there's no signal. Soo-yeon starts to regret playing this prank. The secret room is damp and cold. She quickly eats all the food, but it's hardly enough. She needs energy to figure out how to get out. Trapped in the hellhole of a secret room, Soo-yeon is starving to death. Her eyes light up when she spots several boxes of expired instant noodles on the nearby cabinet. Desperate, she rips open a pack, furiously brushes off the thick layer of mold with a toothbrush, and rinses it under the trickling water, barely able to stomach the thought of eating it. A day passes like this. There's no way to tell day from night in the secret room. A day feels like forever to Soo-yeon. On the second night, Soo-yeon is excited to see Mi-ju show up, but the next second she's shocked. Mi-ju doesn't have the house key, so how did she get in? Mi-ju looks at the mirror and says, "Seong-jin invited me over for drinks. I couldn't say no. Do you think he likes me?" Mi-ju's face is full of smugness, not a bit of guilt. Now it's obvious that Mi-ju wants to steal Seong-jin. Soo-yeon is so angry that she's shaking all over. She hits the iron pipe with her injured right hand without thinking. The water in the sink outside shakes a little. Mi-ju sneers, "You're gonna be even madder later." And then, Mi-ju saunters into the bedroom, deliberately positions herself right in front of the mirror, and locks lips with Seong-jin, all in full view of the horrified Soo-yeon. Acting all coy and fake guilty, Mi-ju purrs to Seong-jin, "Aren't we being naughty?" Doing this behind Soo-yeon's back. Soo-yeon is so enraged that she could explode. She slams her fists against the mirror, but Seong-jin remains completely oblivious. Soo-yeon watches as Seong-jin's hand goes into Mi-ju's pants. She yells no, inside, but then the two outside move to another place. Soo-yeon runs after them quickly, only to see them on her bed, really going at it. She's so anxious in the secret room, slapping and cursing at the glass. She's been cuckolded for 3 hours straight, and she's been slapping the glass for 3 hours until her hands go numb and her throat is sore. And once this starts, it just keeps going. Soo-yeon is cuckolded by her bestie, Mi-ju, day after day. Right in her face, Mi-ju and Seong-jin get affectionate, and their intimacy only grows with time. And to add insult to injury, Mi-ju often shoots Soo-yeon a smug, taunting glance. Soo-yeon, who is really angry at first, gets used to it. She can even sit there and watch them because she starts to think about why Mi-ju betrayed her. You know, she and Mi-ju used to be a couple. Back in school, they'd always hide in the secret room after school. Soo-yeon would put handcuffs on Mi-ju, and they'd play some wild games. After they graduated from college, Mi-ju helped Soo-yeon redecorate the house but kept the secret room. It was their thing. Mi-ju thought she could finally move in with Soo-yeon for real. But then Soo-yeon met Seong-jin, the love of her life. She called Mi-ju to break up, said she was getting married, and told Mi-ju to find someone too. Soo-yeon is really despicable. She actually dumps her best friend she has been close to for 10 years. Facing the betrayal of her loved one, Mi-ju's affection for Soo-yeon turns into deep-seated hatred. She resolves to take revenge on Soo-yeon, determined to make her lose the man she loves. Soo-yeon's husband, Seong-jin, is a music performer. Both of these sisters are cellists. After Soo-yeon enters the secret room, the cellist position becomes vacant, and Mi-ju seizes the opportunity to fill this gap. She then sets out to seduce Seong-jin. Now that the two of them finally finish their intimate act, Mi-ju heads to the bathroom to take a bath. Soo-yeon approaches. It seems that Mi-ju also recollects their past. Mi-ju says, "If I let you out, will you rush to the police immediately?" Seeing a glimmer of hope for freedom, Soo-yeon instantly strikes the iron pipe to respond to Mi-ju, vowing that she won't do that. But the next second, Mi-ju smirks. "Your husband is quite skillful in bed. I'm really reluctant to leave." Soo-yeon immediately grasps the hidden meaning. It implies that Mi-ju originally intended to take revenge on her, but now she has changed her tune and is hellbent on stealing her man. Trapped in the secret room, Soo-yeon is forced to watch her husband and Mi-ju engaging in their steamy affair. She furiously pounds the iron pipe. Soo-yeon is well aware that Mi-ju has no intention of setting her free. At this point, she no longer cares about the man. All she yearns for is to escape this hellhole. After Mi-ju finishes speaking, she turns around to take a bath. This sight sends Soo-yeon into a frenzy. Just then, she spots a switch nearby and decides to give it a try to create some commotion. She twists it with all her might, but her hand slips and she crashes to the ground. Suddenly, Mi-ju lets out a blood-curdling scream from outside. She has been scalded by the hot water in an instant. It turns out that this is a hot and cold water valve switch. Soo-yeon feels as if she has found a lifeline. As long as Mi-ju refuses to release her, Soo-yeon will burn them with hot water every day. When Seong-jin gets wind of this, he promptly dispatches someone to inspect, but they come up empty-handed. Just as Seong-jin is puzzled, Soo-yeon's mother makes a startling discovery. Her daughter has had no consumption records for nearly a month. Filled with dread, she suspects that her daughter has gone missing. Subsequently, she checks the home surveillance and stumbles upon a crucial clue. On the day Soo-yeon vanished, another person showed up at home. Unfortunately, the person's face wasn't captured, but their bracelet was clearly filmed. Seong-jin takes a closer look and realizes it's Mi-ju's bracelet. Without hesitation, he heads straight to her place. While Mi-ju is busy washing fruits, he stealthily opens her phone. To his shock, he sees an intimate photo of Soo-yeon and Mi-ju as the phone's wallpaper. Seong-jin can tell at a glance that their relationship is far from ordinary. He confronts her directly. "Do you know where Soo-yeon is?" But Mi-ju feigns innocence and replies, "I did see Soo-yeon on the day she left home, but she didn't breathe a word about her destination." However, when Seong-jin returns home and goes to the bathroom to wash his hands, he's taken aback to find that the water supply has been cut off. It's Soo-yeon who has turned off the water valve. Moments later, Soo-yeon turns the water valve back on. She repeats this action 2 or 3 times, successfully drawing Seong-jin's attention. He starts to scrutinize the surroundings meticulously, but everything seems normal. Then, Soo-yeon turns on the water valve once again. Soo-yeon remains trapped in the secret room. Seong-jin, standing in front of the mirror, senses that something is amiss behind it. It's as if there's an invisible hand controlling the water valve. Thinking about Soo-yeon's mysterious disappearance, he calls out his wife's name. Soo-yeon shouts back with all her might, but Seong-jin remains oblivious. He presses his ear against the mirror and finally feels the faint vibrations from Soo-yeon slapping the glass. Now he's certain that Soo-yeon is hidden right behind the mirror. In a fit of determination, he picks up a potted plant, ready to smash the mirror to pieces. But at the very last moment, Seong-jin freezes. He suddenly realizes that Soo-yeon must have seen him just now, which is why she made those noises. It dawns on him that Soo-yeon must have witnessed his affair with her best friend, and if she's set free, she'll surely call the police. Considering this, he can't afford to let her out. Moreover, he's acutely aware that he's been relying on Soo-yeon's family power. Without it, he wouldn't have achieved his current status. With this in mind, he reluctantly puts down the potted plant and chooses to turn a blind eye. He also figures out that Soo-yeon was locked in by her bestie. He then marches over to question Mi-ju, and this time she finally spills the beans. though she conveniently omits her past relationship with Soo-yeon. Seong-jin betrays Soo-yeon and locks her in the secret room, shattering all her hopes. Now she can only resign herself to waiting for death in this confined space. However, fortune smiles upon her. The next morning, Seong-jin is jolted by the sudden arrival of Soo-yeon's distress message. Panicking, he immediately sends a text to Mi-ju, arranging an urgent meeting. They both know all too well that if Soo-yeon's phone regains signal, she'll waste no time in calling the police. So, they must act swiftly to release her and cover up the evidence of her imprisonment. In fact, this text message is the result of Soo-yeon's mother's efforts. She hires a hacker to break into her daughter's phone and sends the message to everyone in the contact list, in a desperate attempt to track down her daughter's whereabouts. At the same time, Mi-ju and Seong-jin rush back home and open the secret room. As soon as they step inside, a putrid stench assaults their nostrils. They gingerly make their way through the corridor and finally find Soo-yeon lying motionless on the ground at the end of the secret room. Seong-jin covers his mouth in horror, fearing that Soo-yeon has already lost her life. Mi-ju is also on edge, worried that she might have inadvertently caused Soo-yeon's death. She squats down nervously, trying to rouse Soo-yeon. The next second, Soo-yeon stirs and slowly regains consciousness. Both of them heave a sigh of relief, but in an instant, Soo-yeon snaps. She lunges forward and grabs Mi-ju with all her strength. Seong-jin quickly intervenes, pulling them apart. Mi-ju, thoroughly frightened, exclaims that Soo-yeon has gone crazy. She tries to drag Seong-jin out of the room. Unexpectedly, Soo-yeon gives her a powerful shove. Mi-ju's head slams into the wall and she crumples to the ground. Unable to get up, Seong-jin weighs his options. In the end, he decides that compared to the fleeting pleasure Mi-ju brought him, he'd rather stick with Soo-yeon, who is wealthy and naive. So he reaches out to help Soo-yeon up and escorts her out. After Soo-yeon is freed, Seong-jin immediately begs for her forgiveness. Surprisingly, Soo-yeon forgives him magnanimously. Then, she saunters over to the bathroom and raps on the mirror, saying triumphantly, "Now it's your turn in there. We have a long time ahead." Clearly, the long-term imprisonment has taken a toll on Soo-yeon's mental state. But whenever Seong-jin tries to get intimate with her, she instinctively recoils in disgust. Rather than torturing Mi-ju directly, Soo-yeon secretly has an affair in the secret room, just as Mi-ju and Seong-jin did brazenly in front of her before. Strangely enough, Mi-ju seems to be okay with it. This film is called Hidden Face, and it's a remake of the Spanish movie The Hidden Face. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. See you next time.